Our first panel is called Kickin' It, Soccer's Moment. And this panel is going to dive into just the growth of the sport, some of the major changes that we've seen, and it's going to be a fantastic conversation because I have seen Jessica Berman speak, and man, she is a powerhouse, as you all know. So to moderate our panel, we're going to bring up Avi Greene, who's Senior Associate at Populous. You guys can sort of just do your walk up. There you go, your red carpet walk up. Jessica Berman, the Commissioner of the National Women's Soccer League. Hey, Jess. Carolyn Tisch Blodgett, the founder and CEO of Next 3 and Governor of Gotham Football Club. Lisa Bhathal Merage, the co-founder and managing partner of Merage Capital and Governor of the Portland Thorns. And Julie Uhrman, the co-founder and president of Angel City Football Club. Give them a warm welcome, y'all.
Good morning, everyone. I am so excited to have our esteemed colleagues up on the stage to talk about women's soccer. As many of you are probably already familiar, we are coming off of an incredible World Cup in 2023, the recent 2024 Paris Olympics, where our very own U.S. women's national team won a gold medal. Jessica, I'd like to kick it off with you. On the heels of these global soccer events, how has the NWSL being increased in attention? What are some of your goals that you're trying to instill as you move forward as a league?
Well, thank you, and thanks for having us, and it's incredible to be here with some of our most prominent women owners and to be highlighting how intentional we've been about building a strong leadership team, both within the league and around our clubs from an ownership perspective. I think in order to talk about where we're going, we have to reflect back on from where we've come. In 2022, we were focused on culture and really resetting the culture of the league and building trust and foundation for operational rigor, professionalism, and really ensuring that the players, most importantly, the stars of our league, trusted us and our future vision. 2023 was really focused on value and resetting the value of our league. We did that through expansion and selling 2 teams. I think Sportico may have leaked it. They weren't supposed to. Selling 2 teams at a record-breaking $53 million, which was more than 10 times what had been valued of a team in not just 18 months prior. And really resetting the value of our media rights, where we increased the value of our media rights by 40 times in 23. And this year has really been focused on so many successful accomplishments, including viewership and attendance. But really importantly, and the primary success and the thing that we feel like we're famous for in 2024 is being strategic about our new collective bargaining agreement and really resetting how we think about and reimagine the future partnership with our players, focused on aspects of really up-leveling compensation and revenue sharing, and as importantly, giving our players agency over where they play. All of those things have really set the foundation for the future, and as we think about 2025, we really feel like we have the solid foundation to be able to build upon that and focused really squarely on star making and storytelling, knowing that that is going to be the thing that captivates not only our core fan, who we fondly refer to as the WOSO, women's soccer, but really scaling that and expanding that to the average consumer who we know appreciate and love a good game and the best talent in the world, which do play in our league, and we are able to see them all enjoy and celebrate these same players who play on an international stage at tens of 20 of millions of people in viewership and attendance, and really bringing that back into our league through the highlighting of the incredible talent that we feature week in and week out on the pitch.
There's so much incredible talent across the league, especially amongst these 3 teams that are on stage with us today. One of the things that we talk about so often is the brand surrounding the team. So I'd actually like to go and hear from each one of you, because all of these teams have such significant brands in such different ways. Carolyn, let's start with you. How have you capitalized on your brand with Gotham City to attract growth?
Yeah, so I would say kind of, so we came in as new owners less than a year ago, and we came off of a championship win. We closed on our deal, and 2 days later we won the championship. So we kind of came in at this really high moment, but we also came in eyes wide open to how much opportunity there was to improve, and the team didn't have an office, and there was, there was a lot to do, but I would say brand was really central to that. And so as we think about, so when I put my kind of former marketing hat on, I used to run marketing at Peloton for many years, and at Peloton, the way I would talk to people in the early days, and they would say, I love my Peloton bike, I love Allie, or I love my Peloton bike, I can't wait to wake up with Cody every morning. And so our job as marketers was to help build those instructors into stars. And so when I think about at Gotham, our opportunity coming off the heels of the Olympics, we have 7 Olympians on our team, 6 on the U.S. Women's National Team and 1 on Germany. It is our job to take that same playbook over to Gotham and to help create stars out of our players. Obviously, many of them are stars in their own right on the field. And so some of the things we've done, we were the first NWSL team to go to the White House to celebrate our championship run last month. We had our players at the U.S. Open. They've sat courtside at Knicks games and Liberty games, and they've been on Sunday Night Football. And so we are, right here with New York as our backyard. We have a unique opportunity to really bridge the gap and make these players, continue to help these players turn into stars and help leverage that to continue to grow the game and our brand.
Excellent. And Lisa, you have just inherited a tremendous brand in the Portland Thorns, one of the most historic existing NWSL teams. How are you leveraging that brand now as you create something new?
No, thank you, Avi. It's true. We're new as well. We're less than a year in as well. But for us, so much of it is about the fan base. And some of you may wonder, I'm on the stage here with New York and LA, and then there's Portland. Unless you follow soccer, you're wondering, why is Portland up on the stage? But we actually are the most winning team in NWSL history. We have the most championships, and we have the most incredible fan base. So when I went out about a little over a year ago to look at my first Portland Thorns game, I was astonished and amazed at the magic that happens in Providence Park. Our average attendance historically has been the best in the league. We have easily 18 to 19,000 per game, and we have the most rabid fans in the league. I think that that allows us to attract players, where I think whether you are on our team or you are the opposing team, everybody knows what playing at Providence Park is like. It is very loud, it is very energetic. We have the original supporters group, the Rose City Riveters, that are not manufactured, they're authentic, they are their own nonprofit, they have their own chants and pages of chants that they put in order for every game. So for us, it's kind of the magic of the community. And so much so that I think when Kathy was looking at with the WNBA, where the next expansion franchise would be, the natural place would be Portland because the fan base is so impassioned there. And it really has truly been established as the global epicenter for women's sports.
Excellent. And Julie, I mean, you talk so often about having a global brand with Angel City FC. I know it is a newer team, but it is already so well established. Tell us a little bit about that idea of this global brand.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks, Sportico. Thank you for being here. As most of you know, I'm a former basketball player, so it's killing me that I don't have a ball in my hand and I'm not shooting baskets. I keep looking at the baskets being like, oh. But soccer's my new love. Yes, so that's Sportico's quote for me. No, we were incredibly intentional. I think when you think about Angel City, the one thing that we have been from the beginning is incredibly intentional. When we thought about bringing a women's football club to Los Angeles, Portland was really the city that we looked at. They were the outlier. So every single metric, every single conversation we would have is, there's Portland, and then there's everyone else. And it's like, how do you create the energy and the excitement of Portland? How do you get over 15,000 fans? Like, how do you get a winning, incredibly established team? And so we looked at, how do we beat Portland, right? How do we become the club? That should be everybody's goal when they enter a league. And when Natalie and Karen and I came together, we were really intentional about this being bigger than a team. we had a bigger mission, which was really to use sport and entertainment to drive towards equity. Pay equity, gender equity, visibility. We were coming off the heels of the women winning the World Cup in 2019, the US women embarking on their lawsuit against US soccer, and there was a moment in time when everyone was paying attention to equity and equity for women. So how could we, in Los Angeles, the first or second, Carolyn's on the panel, largest sports media market in the US, how can we use our influence and our platform and our voice to drive something more and use sport, and specifically women's football, as a way to do that? Women's football being probably the best sport to do that because it is a global sport, and we do have the best players in the world. We're literally building a league with the absolute best players in the world that have proved it time and time again. So if you want to truly affect change, you need to be speaking at the largest megaphone you possibly can. So that means at the global lens, and women's football being a global sport, it made sense. So the idea was that we were gonna use attention and awareness to drive towards equity using Angel City Football Club, and be incredibly intentional about building a community, a product, and an impact platform where you could be a fan of the club without even knowing who the players were. When you travel around the world, I don't know about you, but I see New York Yankees hats everywhere. And if you ask them if they've ever been to the game, the answer is usually no. If you've asked them if they've seen a game, the answer might also be no. But there's an affinity towards the New York Yankees. So our goal was, if we can become a global brand and drive attention and awareness for equity, we can then capture that audience, convert it into revenue by becoming a fan of Angel City, and use that revenue to drive impact. So when we think about our PR strategy, when we think about the players that we sign, when we think about the messages, when we think about the events that we attend, we do it on a global basis because Angel City stands for more.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so interesting because I feel like there's so many unique opportunities for sponsorship within the space of women's sports, and being able to capitalize on larger values that these teams share. Lisa, I want to ask, because as a newer owner, you're starting to think more about some of these strategic partnerships. What are you thinking in terms of Portland as you move forward with the team?
Yeah, it's been interesting because we came in and we had very few sponsorships. We had a lot of work to do, and we actually will, for 2025, have a new Front of Kids sponsor, so we've been working on that. The thing that we found is that, with Nike and Adidas in our backyard, we've already been the capital of sports branded lifestyle for many years, and now being the global epicenter for women's sports, it's elevated Portland. So the brands that we're attracting are punching way above our weight. We have national and global brands who are interested in partnering with us, and many more than the city of Portland at 2.5 million.
And Carolyn, you have such a unique vision of sponsorship with New York. I know we were talking a little bit backstage about that, but how's Gotham City leveraging the digital platform and social media to affect these sponsorships?
So I guess I'd answer that in two ways. First, I would say we kind of are living the model of if you build it, they will come. We signed our biggest sponsorship deal in club history right before this season started, and with CarMax, and kind of our pitch to them was, as we talked to them about this new media deal, as Jessica mentioned, we had never actually stepped foot into this media deal. No team had been broadcast on TV yet, and we had to convince them of what the vision was and what we were building. Now we've done, only 9 months later, we've done some independent research that showed that our front of kit, the value of that placement was actually gone up 200% already. And so we had, CarMax took a bet on us and believed that, if we build it, they will come. And I think one of the things that has been really impactful, like the reason they've seen such ROI from their sponsorship with us is that they didn't just say, we want to put our name on your jersey and let's stop there. They really thought about, through the entire marketing funnel, how are the different ways that we are going to engage with your fans or engage with your players so that we can see the biggest impact. And so yes, they have their, our front of kit, they have their name on our jersey, and that's seen tremendous impact. I think their unaided awareness is up like double this year already. But they didn't stop there. They also thought about what are the different pain points in a consumer journey. So parking isn't, if any of you have been to Red Bull Arena, there's a lot of parking issues. So they give out, at every one of our games, they'll give out free, kind of surprise and delight, give out free parking passes to the first hundreds of fans that come. So again, solving a pain point. Then they looked at, okay, being in the community is really important to us. So what can we do? We often give out comp tickets to different underserved communities, but transportation, again, back to the arena, is an issue. So they take buses, they'll sponsor buses to go from underserved communities to bring those families out there. So they are seeing this tremendous return on investment by investing with us because they're thinking about it not just as, let's put our logo on your jersey, but let's think about it through the entire funnel.
We've heard a lot about how these sponsorships are aligning with the values of the team and the larger NWSL league. Jessica, we've got the championships coming up next month. We are about to start playoffs, and it is so important and critical this current time we're in. You had mentioned earlier, I hadn't even thought about it, it is coming at the same time as the election that's upcoming. How is the NWSL looking at this as a strategic way to really better the rest of society through these elite women?
Well, I think we're fortunate that our values are so aligned internally that allows for us to show up authentically externally. You hear the passion from Carolyn and Lisa and Julie, and I would say to a person within the league office, within our clubs, for our players, we all share a collective vision of really manifesting this idea that sport has the power to change the world, and we believe that uniquely the National Women's Soccer League, given that it is a global sport, has the ability to do that, and we'd be foolish to ignore the fact that there is this upcoming impending moment in society where I think the country has never been more divided and polarized, and that the election is going to be challenging for our country. And so thinking about our playoffs and championship, which is the pinnacle of our season, through the lens of what else is happening in people's lives that are relevant to them, and what is the opportunity that we can create through our platform to really give people a reason to come together and celebrate and be reminded, no matter who wins the election, that they have a lot to be proud of being here in America, that there's plenty of opportunities to celebrate, there's a reason for them to feel joy, and we think our game can uniquely provide that. Some of what we've done leading up to this to really keep that consistent drumbeat is really partner with bipartisan organizations around voting disenfranchisement and ensuring that people know how and when they can register their vote, and making sure that people understand the agency, again, consistent theme, the agency they can really take on in their community to advocate for the things they care about, and that we believe their fandom is a vehicle for that.
Julie, you were touching on it a little bit before. You have some really amazing stories coming out of Angel City FC. How are you structuring your sponsorships differently to address some of these inequities?
Yeah, I mean, our sponsorship model is very different. We launched the Angel City sponsorship model where we give 10% of all of our sponsorship dollars back into the community. And we did that from day one because our mission is so much bigger. The idea of striving towards equity and being able to give access and opportunity to the youth in our community to support women and minority-owned businesses. The idea is, how can we be a part of the community from the beginning? Winning and losing is important, but we want you to be a fan of what we care about. So we talked about building an organization where mission and capital can coexist, where we do not sacrifice one for the other. So the internal mantra is, we lead with passion and purpose to drive to profitability. So every decision we make, the conversation is, how does this drive revenue? How does this drive the sport forward? How does this represent our players and what they are deserving of, and our community from an entertainment and experience perspective, but also, how does this give back to the community? So even before we had a name, a place to play, colors, kit, we developed our impact platform of equity, which has two major verticals, which are essentials and education, and we work with partners in the community to be able to give back. Since Angel City started we got our license in 2020. We kicked the ball for the first time in April of 2022. And I sit here today and we've given $3.5 million back into the community through our sponsorship model. We are the highest revenue generating team in the NWSL. We do 4 times the amount of game day ticketing revenue than anyone in the NWSL, 2 times the amount of attendance. And that's because we've been so intentional about what our value is, what our proposition is, and why supporting Angel City is more than just supporting the players, and that's why people show up. And it's pretty incredible. I mean, next weekend, we are doing a event with DoorDash, who's our front of kit partner. With them, when we go and talk to DoorDash, it's not, here's what's amazing about women's sports. So that is very much a part of the pitch, but it's, here's the impact you can have in the community, here's how you can build pathways, And what DoorDash cared about was food insecurity. And we partnered with them during the pandemic and COVID, and they wanted to address that last mile. So we've been giving meals out with DoorDash. So this event, we're celebrating our 2 millionth meal that we've given in Los Angeles. So these are statistics that we're like incredibly proud of. We've created an Angel City coaching network to bring more women and non-binary individuals into coaching. They've established over 116 licenses for these individuals. We have a nutrition program with Sprouts. We have programs with youth in Los Angeles Breaks and Parks. We're really attacking the pay-to-play model of youth soccer in Los Angeles. And we talked about it more, but we're launching this Angel City Impact Fund, which will be no and low-cost soccer, starting with 7,000 kids, growing to 50,000 in the next 3 years. It's pretty incredible. It's never been done before. And so this is how we want to show up in the community, and this is why sponsors show up, because they can partner with us from a value standpoint, and then additionally get the benefit of the LED and the TV and the radio spots, but they work with us the whole year round, and we're able to capture that content and tell that story alongside them.
It's amazing just hearing all the interest in women's sports right now, especially in the sponsorship space. Carolyn, what strategies are you using in New York to create interest around your club and your team moving forward?
Yeah, so I would say we benefit from being well, I guess we can say we're the largest media market in the world, but it's also a challenge, obviously. There's a lot of competition out there. So I would say again, as I said before, we focus on how we can grow both the Gotham brand, but also the brand of each of our individual players. We also think about, so I would say we started with, most kind of, again, putting my marketing hat on, any great marketer will tell you can't market anything without a great product. And so we started with, we need to have the best product on the field. And as Julie said before, this league has the best players in the world, period. Then we said, okay, what makes a great fan experience of sports in the US? It's not just about the 90 minutes on the field. It's about, the time before. So we created a great fan experience. Again, had our business team flew out to Angel City, who are best in class, and saw what they did there. And so we focused on building out the fan experience around it. Then we said, okay, what are the things that are still not working well? And so we started measuring NPS. So after every game, we look at scores at how every single person that enters our building ranks the experience there. And then everyone from ownership down reads every single one of the open-ended pieces of feedback, and it's really illuminating, I would say, what people want to tell you about their experience at a game. And so one of the things that we heard early on was the bathroom lines were really long. And so no surprise, the stadium obviously was not built to have our current audience is 70% female in person. Most stadiums are not built for a 70% female audience. And so we converted, this was an idea that came from one of the comments, we converted some of the men's rooms, not by changing anything, we just changed the sign and said now it's at a Gotham game, it's going to be a women's room. And it totally changed the lines. Our NPS score went up as a result. And so I would say the way that we are thinking about is, number one, as I said before, how can we insert ourselves into culture? And we talked about, how we can help create the players' brands as part of that and show up in New York culture at Fashion Week and other sporting events. But also, how do we create the best in-person fan experience for our fans so that they not only show up once because they somehow, maybe saw one of our players at Fashion Week, but also once they come, they are going to come back time and time again because they've had such a great fan experience.
We've heard some really amazing stories and opportunities in women's sports on this stage today. I see we only have a few minutes, so I'd like to do a quick rapid fire round with you all. Jessica, I'm going to start with you and we'll just go down the line. What words come to mind when you think of the NWSL?
Well, I guess riffing off fan research, which is so important for all of us who are building the future. We need to hear from our fans to be able to understand what we should be building that will help us to scale our business. So vibes is my word, mostly because that's what our fans told us is the word that they think of when they think about the NWSL, vibes.
I love it. Carolyn, what are your thoughts on this?
I would say transformational. It feels like, Julie, Lisa, and I all sit on the league board with Jessica, and it feels like it's in every board meeting you go to, you feel like we are making decisions that are going to lay the foundation of what the league looks like in the future. And there are not many moments, I think, in any of our workday where we feel like you feel like you are writing the script or you're writing the storybook that's going to be written later about it. I went to business school. I always think about, like, is this the case study? Are we writing the case study of the NWSL? And it feels like we are very much doing that right now. And so every decision is not just about, should we make the bathrooms, should we convert some bathrooms, but it's how are we building the foundation of this team and this league for what we know the future can be.
Excellent. Lisa?
Similar to Carolyn, but I would kind of say disruptive. I love the fact that being involved with the NWSL, we're able to impact the future. I mean, there's men's leagues that have been established for 100 years, and we get to create, and we get to have an impact. And I look forward to one day when we're on this stage, and it's actually not a women's sports conference, it's just a sports conference, and it's the same.
I mean, there's so many things running through my mind. But I think what Carolyn and Lisa have said, it's really opportunity. Like, we are an incredibly young league. We're 12, 13 years young. We do not have to create this league in the reflection of the NBA, the WNBA, the NFL, the NHL. Like, we don't have to copy what men's leagues have done before. We're young, we're aggressive, it's a new audience. Women's sports is growing faster than men's sports, the WNBA, the NWSL. And the reality is there's so much we haven't done yet. And there's so many chances we can take. And the other reality is the swings that we can take, the cost of those swings is so much less, relatively speaking, to what the men's sports would cost if they made those swings. Like, we need to take those chances. We need to take those swings. I think we have the permission of our fan base to be creative, to be aggressive, to do things differently. And I want to see us be aggressive and be transformative and take bigger swings.
Ladies, thank you so much for being here this morning. A round of applause.